Yeah, you finish your brackets?
I am completing the last touches now.
All right. I'm just
And
kidding.
Obama completed his.
I does not care.
We are America, one voice, united we stand.
And to all of the naysayers, and to all of those that would
Morning,
like
y'all.
to destroy the future of the greatest country in the world, our message to them is the same as my grandfather's. Them that's going, get on the wagon. Them that ain't, get out of the way.
Herman Cain. Solutions for a better America.
Anytime.
This is your host, Herman Cain. Thank you for joining us because you know we are going to tell you the truth. We're going to give you the facts because we want you to be better informed and inspired to help make this a better United States of America, with the operative words being united. That's right. We're all about being better united. And the only way we become better united is you've got to be better informed, because there's a lot of lies out there. There's a lot of false stuff out there. And there's a lot of fake news. I want to start by giving a shout out to a lady by the name of Elaine and her son, Payman. Payman was a server at the restaurant that I had dinner at last night. And he was somewhat shocked to see me walk in. And he told me about his mother, who is typically liberal, he said, but she knows he's more conservative. So she gave him a copy of one of my books. Hey, isn't that special? Mom might be liberal, but she knows her son is conservative, and she does not hold it against him. So I want to give a shout out to both of them because they are regular listeners to the Herman Cain Show. Now, speaking of that dinner, it was at a restaurant here in Atlanta, Davios, very good restaurant, I might add. News Nugget. Global perspective. I was honored to be invited to attend a board meeting at that restaurant, board meeting dinner at that particular restaurant last night. And the company that sponsored the dinner is a board that I used to serve on. It's an $8 billion international company. They've got operations all around the world. And they asked me to give a perspective on the Trump administration and what to expect. Remember, we talked about how the media tries to shape the perception of people during the primary, during the general election, and now the media is trying to shape the perception of this presidency and this administration. And the same is true of what happens around the world. The first strategic observation that I shared with this group, and we had board members from Germany, board members from Brazil, board members from India, and other countries. The first strategic perspective that I've shared with them was the idea about the positive tone from the top. You've heard me talk a lot about that. The positive tone from the top has already produced some positive ripple effects within this country, such as the stock market, such as illegal border crossings going down, such as the number of companies that want us. That's why we go through the process. Secondly, thirdly, I also said that I do expect that the Trump administration will succeed in getting some tax cuts. How much? We don't know. It's part of our process. And then I said, however, don't look at what the media tries to tell you about this president and this administration. Look at what he does. Look at the results. Because many of us in this country fall into that same trap, worrying about what the media says rather than what the administration is doing. And then I got a couple of very interesting questions. One from the lady to globalization. I said. It's not that he objects to globalization. What he objects to is group deals. and I explained his unilateral approach. He believes in working out agreements with countries one-on-one in order to come out with the best deal for that country as well as the United States. And the lady from India said, you know, that might be better for India. Remember when President Trump took over, he immediately signed an executive order that says we're not going to participate with TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. And so I explained the unilateral nature. And then the second question, another question that came up that I thought was rather interesting from a global international perspective, will we also be seeking unilateral agreements with a country like China? I said, yes. I said, but the difference is going to be, it's going to be more complex because China has more dimensions for us to deal with in trying to come up with an agreement. But I found it very interesting that their perspective or perception of this administration was anti-globalization, but yet they had not been communicated with about the unilateral one-on-one deals that we can expect from this administration. Interesting board dinner and perspective. News nugget. I know that many of you all are being barraged with a lot of negativity about what's going on in Washington relative to the health care deal. And it can sometimes be frustrating, and it can sometimes be discouraging. But I want you to remember one thing. It's the process that we go through. Remember, Sean Spicer said yesterday, this isn't a take it all or leave it kind of an approach. Our process consists of legislation can start in the House, which it did. Now it goes through several committees. Then it goes through some debate. Some people are going to be dissatisfied. Then they're going to try to come to some resolution. The White House gets involved to try to come up with something that the House and the White House agree on. Then they're going to move it to the Senate. It's our process. It's how legislative sausage is made. And sometimes you don't want to know or see how the sausage is made. But they are trying to make legislative sausage, okay? Now, there are two aspects of this process that get on my nerves. The first is the Democrat negativity. That's why a lot of people are negative about what's happening. Let's start with Representative John Yarmouth, Democrat from Kentucky, who says that the GOP health bill is in trouble no matter what Republicans try to do.
This piece of legislation, the American Health Care Act, is in legislative quicksand. It is sinking of its own weight, and every time the Republicans try to move one way or another, it is sinking faster.
No, it's not. That's just negativity. That's what they're supposed to say. They're going through the process. Representative Joe Crowley, Democrat from New York, says he fears what will happen when the Republican health bill inevitably fails.
The threat will be that they will do everything they possibly can to make this law that is in place not succeed. What's new? That's what they've been about for the last 7 years.
Mr. Crowley, the law that's in place is failing on its own weight. Democrat negativity, that's what they do. And now Representative Linda Sanchez, Democrat from California, says House GOP leaders are facing an inevitability with their health bill.
If their bill fails, it's basically akin to saying, we didn't have anything better, our bill sucked. And your bill, which is pretty darn good, although there are some areas that need work, we're going to kill it because we're mean-spirited. And they're putting people's health and lives at risk to do it. And I think Americans will see through that, and there will be a price to pay should they go down that route.
Again, folks, all negativity and not true. Secretary Price, news nugget. Secretary Price was on CNN last night, and let's hear some of the things that he had to say about what's going on in his own words. You want to know why? Because as you can tell, the media and the Democrats aren't giving it a fair shake. Let's start with what he had to say about the CBO report that says 24 million people will be uninsured in 10 years.
What the CBO looked at was just 1/3 of the plan. Looked at just the bill that's going through Congress right now. And that's not because they're doing a bad job. That's because that's what they were asked to look at, and that's all they could look at because of the rules. The fact of the matter, it is this bill that's currently going through Congress, and then it's a portion that we can do at the Department of Health and Human Services. All those rules and regulations that the American people know about that happened in the previous administration, hundreds of them, literally, and then thousands of guidance letters, which in fact have kind of the same authority as a rule. All of those were done through the Department of Health and Human Services, and we're going to look at every single one of those to see whether or not they help patients or hurt patients. If they hurt patients, they need to go away. If they drive up costs or drive down costs. If they drive up costs, then they need to go away. And then there's a third phase, which is more legislation that can't be done in the reconciliation of the budget bill, so including things like medical malpractice reform and purchase across state lines. So what the CBO did was look at just a portion of the plan itself.
It looked at a portion of the plan itself. In his own words, that's the main takeaway. But you're not going to hear that on the nightly news. You're also not going to hear on the nightly news Secretary Price answering questions of what business does the government have in delivering health care. Why not just repeal?
We could just be repealing it. But the fact of the matter is that would leave many Americans behind, and that's not what we want. It would pull the rug out from under Americans, and that's not what we want. What we believe is important is to make certain that every single American has access to coverage that's affordable, that's of the highest quality, provides choices for patients, and incentivizes innovation. And if you just simply repeal it, then that doesn't get to that goal. And the individuals that talked about their insurance going away, either on Medicaid or through the private sector, they would lose out. They'd have the rug pulled out from under them, and that's not what we want. So we believe it's most important, and the president is strongly in favor of this, and he heard about it all the time on the campaign trail, that repeal and replace was what the American people desired.
Repeal and replace. Are there any questions? In his own words. Don't listen to what the media tries to tell you, folks. Look at what this administration does. And when I come back, the president's budget blueprint. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
Delivering trusted solutions for a better America.
He's telling America what we need to hear and helping to activate everyone in the right direction.
Herman Cain.
Yeah. Good stuff.
You like it?
I have an appointment. Do that every day. That was it right there.
I just don't want you to feel slighted if I don't use all of your stuff.
I don't care.
You see how I packaged it?
That was very, very good. That was driveway moment.
Okay.
I have got to, go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom. Run. Shane has this bladder problem, folks, okay?
You gotta plug rapid fire. We didn't do it yesterday.
Okay. I think I did. They just didn't call. I must have scared them. Yeah, call it Democrat negativity. Boom.
A dramatic jump in your mortgage payment, leaving you feeling helpless, forcing you to make difficult decisions. If you've fallen behind on your mortgage, are worried about financial problems, or are afraid of foreclosure, it's time to take control. You don't have to lose your home. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling can help.
You want me to email it to you, Herman?
Yeah.
Today. Call us.
That'd be cool. Will I be able to, let's see, I'll be able to see it, one.
The National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Real solutions for real people.
The National Foundation for Credit Counseling is a nonprofit organization that has been providing financial counseling and education for 60 years. Our national network of member agencies have helped millions of consumers with foreclosure prevention. NFCC member agencies are approved by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Frank, you got a
concerned about what's been happening at the plant since those union organizers showed up. They're constantly on the shop floor, and they've been bugging me at home to support the union. But I just don't think we need a union around here.
Now that you mention it, I heard about a similar union
Alright, I'm
that
gonna
factory
scan
didn't
it and
approve.
send it to
Union
you.
officials actually agreed to block a pay raise in order to get the company to help them recruit new members.
I thought our state's right-to-work law blocked union officials from requiring us to join or pay dues to a
I'm
union.
taking a chance on Iowa
But
State.
union officials can still keep us from negotiating
Who are they playing?
employment terms if the unions voted in.
So they are a 5 seed, man, but they have been close in all of their games they've lost.
What can we do?
And they're well coached.
Yeah.
Friends Foundation can help. To learn about your rights or ask for free legal aid, contact the foundation toll-free at 1-800-336-3600 or go online to www.righttowork.org.
It can begin with an email, a phone call, a flyer in the mail, or perhaps a misleading website. Loan modification scams. They come in all shapes and sizes and under different names. Loan rescue firms, counseling services, mortgage consultants, sometimes posing as a legitimate mortgage company willing to help you modify your loan and get caught up with your payments. But beware, these are highly trained con artists looking to steal your home. They often know who you are, where you live, and because it's public record, know if you are on the brink of foreclosure. You're not alone, however. The National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice have partnered to help homeowners identify and steer clear of these scam artists.
McGruff the crime dog here. Protect your home and safeguard your finances. It only takes a little time to become informed. Start by
All right,
finding out
I'm back.
free legitimate housing counseling.
Okay, dude.
All right, so I'm going to complain about the Republicans.
That's fine. Go ahead.
So, in Shaney B's never to be humble opinion, they were a bunch of boneheads. Okay, so it's a 3-phase repeal and replace plan.
Right.
They only wrote phase 1.
Right.
Phase 2 and phase 3 hadn't even been written yet.
Right.
Why didn't they wait till they had everything together before they sent it to the CBO?
Because phase 2 is mostly repealing regulations that they couldn't do until price was in place. That's not legislative. That's regulatory. And remember, they drug their feet on getting price confirmed. And until you do 1 and 2, you don't know what all you need to include in 3. That's why. Now, here's my bone with the Republicans. Shut up. Stop being backseat drivers. Stop second-guessing everything that they're doing, because that sends a signal that they are not together. Huh?
Tom Cotton is front and center of that.
I know. Tom Cotton, Rand Paul, Lindsey Graham, John McCain. Shut up. I didn't get to this. That's the second thing that bothers me about this whole process, is the Republicans bashing the process like they don't know what it is. But that's why they broke it into 3 phases, in my opinion.
Well, the 3 phases make sense, but
yeah,
it's just they made it ripe for demagoguing.
Yep. True.
All right, thanks for tuning into the Shaney B Show.
Well, I'm going to make
We know
that
you're
point.
5% dumber after listening.
No, it's a good point.
All right, here we go. Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. We're spending a lot of time talking about the American Health Care Act, and the reason is because there's a lot of confusion out there. Let me explain one more time. Shane B raised this question during the break, which I think is a great question. Why are they doing it in 3 phases? Why didn't they wait until they had all 3 phases laid out? First, phase 1 undoes most of the things relative to penalties and taxes. Phase 2 is mostly repealing, as Secretary Price pointed out, a lot of the regulatory rules that were written after Obamacare was passed. So he indicated in the soundbite that we played that they are going to go through each and every one of them. So until you do phase 1 and phase 2, you don't know what's going to be left over in phase 3. That's why it's being approached that way. Now, my biggest bone to pick is with the Republicans who are second-guessing everything. News nugget. The Republicans who don't agree with the process or the legislation as is, and I'm going to call names, Senator Tom Cotton, Senator Rand Paul, Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator John McCain, to name a few. My recommendation is stop second-guessing, try to work with them, or shut up. All you're doing is giving fuel to the Democrats to say that nothing is being done and it's going to fail. Work with them instead of jumping in front of the camera, voicing your objections. And another thing, the bill hadn't even gotten to the Senate yet. Now that I got that on my chest. News nugget. President Trump has finalized his first budget for the federal government and will be submitted to Congress later today. Mick Mulvaney, White House budget director, says to pay for a $54 billion increase in defense and security spending, President Trump is calling for deep cuts across the government.
You'll see reductions exactly where you would expect it from a president who just ran on an America First campaign.
And when we come back doing rapid fire, we're going to share with you some of those proposed reductions. Yeah, he is dead serious about it. 877-310-2100. Rapid fire coming up.